periods. And we take a long-term perspective, and we focus on rice, flour, and cooking oil.
对于蔬菜呢，我们实行的是这个动态库存和在源方式的储备。特别是针对于3月份春淡的情况，我们加快了抢播快生菜的力度，提升本地的供给率。总体来说，全市居民的主要生活必需品的储备和库存是充足的，能够保障全市人民基本生活需求。
To meet the basic needs of all the people in Wuhan. This is the first effort that we made. Second effort is that we have broken through the last miles of the logistics sector, and we focus on those major supermarkets, and we are relying on those e-commerce platforms. We also stepped up our efforts in coordinating different supermarkets, public transportation network, as well as the operators of residential communities. Our efforts are covering all the population, all the residential communities, so that we can meet their shopping needs. The third effort is that we are providing support to low-income groups through government support subsidies. We're working together with Walmart, Zhong Nanshan, and Zhongbai, and other supermarkets brand. And we have released a vegetable package for low-income families. And we also channeled the donated vegetables from other provinces to low-income families, and we are also mobilizing the resources of the grassroots to help people with disabilities and senior citizens to do shopping. And the fourth effort we have engaged is to respond to the needs of the people, and we have strengthened market regulation. We are cracking down on speculation and price spiking, and so we have been very serious with this issue, and we have streamlined 392 cases of law infringements, and we have also adjudicated 41 cases. We attach great importance to stabilizing market price. We increased the government stockpile, and we organized 6 supermarkets and relevant e-commerce platforms. And we issued 2 advocacies, and we are bringing preferential goods to and discounted products to citizens. And we are also collecting views and responding to those views and suggestions. And right now, the group purchase at the community level is not targeted, it's not very accurate, and the way of our working method is still quite simplistic. And we fall short in meeting the customized needs of every citizen. And the group purchase is a fresh new strategy that we have engaged amidst the outbreak of the coronavirus. There are some drawbacks, of course, but it is because of your help and because of your suggestions that we are constantly improving this practice. So I sincerely welcome all your opinions, and I hope that you can bring feedbacks to us and work together with us so that we can improve these strategies and practices. In terms of life supply, we are conducting relevant researches, and we plan to make further efforts in the following areas. The first is to increase our stock and inventory. We will try to seek support from the NDRC and from the central government so that we can step up with more guaranteed supply in rice, flour, cooking oil, and vegetables. We're seizing the opportunity of the work resumption nationwide so that we can increase our supply. And second, we will strengthen our support to low-income families, in particular people with disabilities and senior citizens. And for those group of people, we will help purchase goods for them, and we will also conduct regular visits and introduce one-on-one help. And third, we will try to support those enterprises who are doing a good job, and we encourage these enterprises to play a vital role in corporate social responsibilities, and they need to prioritize their activities in serving the needs of the people. And we also support workers from outside Hubei to return to Hubei so that we can meet the labor needs of enterprises. And fourth, we'll further improve market regulation and legislation, and we will have more strict supervision on the quality of goods as well as vegetables, and we will also fight against price speculation. And to that end, we have set up 12 supervision teams who are conducting regular reviews and who are looking into the complaints submitted by citizens, and we will make sure that those illegal behaviors are punished. So this is a fight that we need to all engage, and we have to strengthen the role of grassroots party organizations, and we need to bring those party members onto a more important position so that they can play a leading role, and we can form a sound atmosphere of unity and solidarity. And we want to express our gratitude to citizens in Wuhan for your kind support, and we also help those who shared opinions to improve our group purchase practice. I believe that we will continue to work very hard to improve our efforts. I want to thank you once again for your consistent support at this special time. Thank you. Now the floor is open for questions. Before you raise a question, please also introduce your organization. I'm from CGTN. Already there are 8 provinces who have donated vegetables and fruits to Wuhan, and are those sufficient to meet the needs of Wuhan? May I invite Ms. Xu to respond to this question? Thank you very much for your question. I believe this is the question that is concerned the most by our citizens, and they are concerned about if there is anything to buy, if there is sufficient supply. And this is also a question that we attach the most importance to. If we have sufficient supply, then the society is stable. Core leaders of Wuhan Party Committee and governments have paid visits to enterprises, to factory plants, and to review the stocking and inventory of those goods and supplies, and this is the priority of our job at present. And right now, we need to improve our supply in key goods, and we can guarantee more than 1 month of supply for salt, oil, and vegetables. And for salt, we can guarantee 85 days, and for pork, we have a supply that is able to meet the needs for more than 15 days. And for eggs, we have a supply of more than 10 days, and for vegetables, it's very hard to be stored, but we can meet the supply. We can meet the needs for more than 3 days, and we also have inventory on the field so that we can basically guarantee the needs of Wuhan for more than 1 week in terms of vegetables. And since the logistic network has been initiated, we have coordinated the efforts of 9 provinces and cities nearby, and we also have the support from Wuhan, and we have support from people from all across the country, and this is a very important support. So in general, we have very diverse supply in Wuhan, and we are able to guarantee the basic needs of people in Wuhan. Thank you very much. I'm with Guangming Daily. According to media reports, in Wuhan there is a shortage of delivery man for like 2,000, and to our knowledge, there is also a labor shortage for packaging workers at supermarkets. So I'm wondering, are those positions quickly resuming at this point of time, and how and when will you solve this labor shortage issue? Thank you very much. As you have just mentioned, there is a labor shortage, and this is the most challenging part of our work. To mitigate those pressures, we have come up with 5 strategies. The first one is we have enrolled some community workers and volunteers who will work at supermarkets. And our volunteers will go down to the grassroots at the community level, and they will help those workers to do delivery. And for the second batch of volunteers, we are going to distribute them into more than 200 volunteers, and they will help in goods sorting as well as product packaging. The second solution to this problem is that since the lockdown of residential communities, we request that no individuals are qualified to deliver the goods from supermarkets to residential communities. And because of this policy, we have significantly reduced the orders for delivery men. And third, wherever the conditions are met, we would arrange the delivery man to deliver the goods in a collective manner so that we can improve the overall efficiency of those people. Another solution is that we are relying on third-party suppliers, and we have some enterprises in Wuhan who have not resumed operation, but they have some laborers standing by, and we are mobilizing this group of laborers, and we have signed some short-term service agreements with those enterprises so that they can channel their people to the team of delivery men, and so that we can mitigate our pressures. And the last solution we have for this is that the prevention and control leading group of the province released some new policies. And according to this policy, we have made some careful arrangements. We encourage those food-related enterprises to quickly resume operation, and we have collected a total of 9,500 delivery men from those enterprises. And I believe that with those people coming back to Wuhan and with all those works being resumed, we will be able to solve the labor shortage to some extent. Thank you very much for your question. And with Hubei Daily, we have noted that in some of the residential communities there is a lack of service, and how do you narrow the gap of those communities? Thank you very much for your question. Since the lockdown at the community level, and there is a striking issue of shortages at those communities, and there is a huge demand at the community level, and there are two striking issues at present. The first is that we have a labor shortage, and the second is that there is a gap between supply and demand. And to address those issues, we have taken three measures. The first is to mobilize all resources to break through the last mile of logistics, and we have mobilized a lot of volunteers to go down to the grassroots level and to help those property management people so that they can narrow the gap and meet the needs of our citizens. The second measure is that we are mobilizing many different channels, and we have set up many designated areas for stocking at the community level, and we have designated people to keep an eye on those places and points so that the goods can be delivered to the households in an orderly fashion. The third solution is to focus primarily on vulnerable groups, for example, senior citizens, people with disabilities, and low-income families. We have organized people to help purchase goods and deliver the products to their households. We are also increasing our stockpile so that we can guarantee that the supply can be guaranteed at all levels. And we have to admit that there is a very big challenge since the lockdown was practiced, and a lot of the workers and volunteers, they have extended a lot of support to us. We believe that the difficulty we have is only temporary. We have the confidence and resolve to overcome the difficulty and eventually win the battle against COVID-19. Thank you. I'm with China Daily. Since the lockdown, a lot of the people haven't walked out of their neighborhoods for 1 month, and they are engaged in group purchasing, and which is very slow, and the group purchase also increases the risk of people gathering in certain places. And is there a solution for this kind of problem? Thank you. May I give the floor to Yao Bin? Thank you very much for your question. Since the group purchase was released, we have witnessed this problem of long delivery time. In order to improve the efficiency of the delivery, we have taken the following measures. The first, as is mentioned earlier, we are dispatching our cadres to the grassroots level. We have the community level great workers who are working together with property management people at the residential community so that we can break through the last 100 meters of the logistic chain. The second measure is to guarantee our capacity of delivery and also improve the efficiency of delivery. And we have come up with the following solutions. The first is to mobilize 800 public buses from the city. In the meantime, we are using a lot of the trucks from the postal services, and also we are using a lot of vans. These vehicles are connecting supermarkets and e-commerce platforms and residential communities. The third major measure for this is that we have further refined the practice of group purchase at the residential community level. We have streamlined our practice, and we request that from the placing of the order to the handling of the order to the start of the delivery and to the receiving of the goods. And there are many different links in this process, and we are refining different links of the process so that we can improve the overall efficiency of the delivery process, so that we can meet the needs of our citizens, so that they can receive the goods that they bought in a very short period of time. Thank you. I'm with Hong Kong Shendong newspaper. According to some reports, there is a price hike for vegetables as well as meat, and there are some packages delivered at the supermarkets. How do you solve the problem of price hike? What are the measures that you have in place to solve the problem of overlaying packaged goods? Thank you. There are two folds in your question. The first is about prices, and the other is about the products packages. And as for the price, we just had the Spring Festival, and which is overlaying with the epidemic. The epidemic has improved the labor cost as well as the logistic cost. And right now, the labor cost and logistic cost are very high, which are roughly 3 times than usual. And this has also dramatically improved and raised the price of vegetable and meat. In view of this, the Wuhan government attaches great importance to this problem, and our enterprises are playing a very important role, and we are mobilizing many different channels, and we are focused on solving this problem. And to summarize, we have 4 measures in place. The first is rule and law. Large supermarkets in Wuhan, they are playing a leading role in this aspect. And on February 27th, Wuhan, Zhongshan, Zhongbei, and Carrefour and Walmart, and also the municipal level of supply and purchase society have jointly issued a number of policies to reduce the price and to bring benefit to the citizens. In the meantime, on February the 28th, our e-commerce platforms have responded accordingly to those policies. And second, we have increased the stockpile of the government, and we are channeling more inventory goods to the market. And the price of the goods from government inventory is 15% lower than 15% cheaper. And for pork, it's sold at 15 yuan per 500 grams. And if you're talking about ribs, then it's only 27 yuan per 500 grams. And for low-income families, the price is even cheaper. For example, it goes down by 5 yuan or by 15 yuan for those low-income families. And third, we introduced vegetable packages, which is priced at 10 yuan for 5 kilos, and this is very popular among the citizens. But we do face the problem of insufficient supply, and we are currently expanding the sources of supply so that we can meet the needs of citizens. And fourth, we have 6 supermarkets branches in Wuhan, and these 6 supermarkets brands, they have released the price for daily groceries so that our citizens can be aware of the price at their homes. And this is also very conducive for public supervision. And as for the issue of vegetable packages, because we have very serious lockdown at the community level, we have come up with vegetable packages. And because the lockdown measures at the community level has become more draconian, and we have introduced these vegetable packages, and this is only for group purchasing, and this has brought a lot of convenience. The policy was introduced basically for convenience sake, and we introduced this type of packages because we have referred to the supply of the supermarkets. We selected the different types of vegetables using big data analysis and finally confirmed with the vegetable packages. And so we are only meeting the general needs of the vast majority of the citizens. Of course, it has brought some inconveniences while serving the needs of the people. And this is mainly caused by the more diverse needs from the people. And in one package, there are maybe, for example, 5 to 6 types of vegetables, and among those 5 to 6 types of vegetables, there are, for example, 1 or 2 types that you don't like, and it's only normal. And we have received a lot of complaints in these aspects, and we are collecting all these complaints, and we are feedbacking to our supermarkets and to our enterprises, and our enterprises are working very hard, and they are accepting the suggestions and complaints, and they are handling the complaints by the people, and so they are offering more options for vegetable packages. And they also took the initiative to publicize the telephone of the head of the supermarkets, and some have even left their cell phone number in the package bag, so that the next time they buy something, they can have their diversified needs met. So this is for vegetable packages. As for the delivery of these goods, we have also made a lot of explorations. And for example, our community has organized a lot of purchasers to meet the customized needs of our people. We also organized our e-commerce platforms to meet the diverse needs of our citizens. And we are also asking the opinions of community leaders. For example, if there is a bigger need for some special sorts of goods, for example, if you need more eggs, then we will provide you with more eggs. So we are doing everything we can, and but still we have to admit that we are not able to meet all the diversified needs of each and every citizen. And so for the next step, we will closely follow the change of needs from the people so that we can improve the way of supply, so that we can improve our supply and provide better products and packages to our people. And here I would also like to advocate, I would like to call on all the citizens in Wuhan to consume in a reasonable manner. And I want to thank you again for your kind understanding and support. And I hope that you can continue to extend your support to us. I believe that as long as we work together, we will definitely win the fight against COVID-19. Now the floor continues. My name is Yu Jie. I'm with Hubei Daily. And in addition to, apart from Wuhan, the other administrations and localities, the epidemic has been eased. And so what are the measures that you have in place to guard against potential risks? Thank you very much. At present, we still have to maintain those very draconian policies. Number one, we need to screen our policy and cover the policy among all the households. We need to screen all the population and collect all suspected cases and confirmed cases to the hospital. We need to locate and quarantine those suspected and confirmed cases. And also the lockdown policy has to be covering all the communities in a city. And for some special areas, the lockdown has to be continued. And when people living in a community have to walk out or get in, they have to be registered and their temperature has to be checked. And number three, the policy has to cover public places. On the basis of this, we also need to have hard quarantine and draconian quarantine, and we need to bring every suspected case to medical care, and we must also stage two very important links. The first is medical treatment. According to these requirements of the city, we have to improve the medical treatment for people with severe conditions so that we can reduce the mortality rate. And the second, we need to place a curb on people-to-people transmission. And we need to identify the sources and also bring those patients to the hospital, and all the suspected cases have to be transferred to the hospital, and those who have a fever has to be quarantined as well. Now the last question, please. I'm with Yangtze Daily. So in Wuhan, there are many old residential communities which are accommodating a lot of low-income families. What are the specific measures you have in place to solve their needs? Thank you very much for your question. The Wuhan municipal government attaches great importance to the life needs of those low-income families. We have released a number of policies and measures to step up our efforts and to meet the needs of those low-income families. And we have taken the following measures. The first is to improve our supply for low-income families. We have scrutinized the households in difficulties. For new applicants of life support, we coming up with more effective supplies, and also we are stepping up with a much better medical care, and we are also conducting regular visits to those families, and we are delivering goods and vegetables to these households, and we also offer them transportation services so that they can be taken care of on an ordinary day, and when they become a suspected case, they can also be cured. And number 3, we are providing basic support to family with a suspected or confirmed cases, and we are giving them temporary life subsidies and support. And number 4, we are strengthening our subsidy and support for low-income families. Making great efforts, such as allocating coupons and subsidies, and for those low-income members, they are each given a coupon of 300 or 500 yuan. And for those confirmed cases, there is another designated subsidy. Thank you. Thank you all to Mr. Xiang, and thank you all to